Well, now it's 7 minutes past the top of the hour. Are you sure the team down in Mexico accepted our Zoom invitation?
They accepted it the day it's sent out. Not sure why they're running so late.
Good morning. We're glad you finally made it to the call.
Buenos días. Estamos felices que finalmente ustedes han llegado a la reunión.
Buenos días, es un placer verlos a todos. ¿Cómo está, señor Pence?
Good morning. It's good to see you all. How are you, Mr. Pence?
We're fine. Ready to kick off our discussion about our ongoing project.
Estamos bien y listos para iniciar nuestra discusión sobre nuestro proyecto.
Bien, yo tengo dudas si podemos continuar trabajando juntos si no hay 5 minutos para saludarnos y hablar sobre el clima y nuestra familia antes.
Okay, well, I guess we can proceed. However, we would like to find time to catch up and develop our relationship throughout the meeting.
Perhaps after we finish how the project is going, we can switch to focus on more trivial matters.
Quizás después de terminemos de discutir cómo va el proyecto, podamos cambiar nuestro enfoque a asuntos más triviales.
So we put this call in the calendar to discuss how our project timeline is coming together. Will you email the report before EOD?
Por eso, pusimos esta convocatoria en el calendario para analizar cómo se está concretando el cronograma de nuestro proyecto. Enviará el informe por correo electrónico antes de EOD.
What? Do you not all understand what EOD stands for?
¿Qué es? ¿Lo que no entienden todos lo que significa EOD?
No, no entiendo EOD. No había oído usar ese término antes. Hubiera sido bueno si usaran el término completo en lugar de simplemente ocultarlo.
Just because you all use that acronym does not mean that the rest of the world understands it. You need to spell it out before you use it.
Understood. I thought everybody would understood that acronym. It's a fairly common one.
Entiendo. Pensé que todos habrían entendido ese acrónimo. Es uno bastante común.
Haremos todo lo posible para brindarle la información al final del día, pero como nuestra siesta se acerca, tal vez se retrase un poco.
We will certainly do our best to get you the information by the end of the day, but with our siesta coming up, it might be slightly delayed.
It's important that we get this information today. You don't see us taking breaks in the middle of the day.
¿Qué? Es tan crítico que recibamos la información hoy.
Lo siento, pero así es como funcionan las cosas aquí. Diferente, trabajamos para brindarle la información lo antes posible, pero no puedo prometer que estaré aquí al final del día.
I am sorry, but that is how things work here. We will definitely work to get you the information as soon as possible, but can't promise that it will be here at the end of the day.
Well, we don't agree with that. Doesn't sound like we have much of a choice. We will let you go now so you can get to work. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us. Just try and be on time in the future, okay?
Si bien no estamos de acuerdo con eso, pero no parece que tengamos muchas opciones. Lo dejaremos ir ahora para que pueda ponerse a trabajo. Gracias por tomarse el tiempo para reunirse con nosotros. Solo intente llegar a tiempo en el futuro, ¿vale?
Gracias a ustedes. Hablamos pronto.
Thank you all. We'll talk soon.
Right, see ya. So who wants to be the bearer of bad news?
That first meeting did not go well. Let's see what kind of improvements can be made during the next meeting.
Glad we listened to our coworkers that had done business in Latin America before. Not gonna lie, I would be pretty upset otherwise that Ms. Rojas is late to the meeting.
Yeah, well, it may make it a little harder to schedule meetings because we're not 100% sure when they're going to start. At the same time, not feeling rushed is kind of refreshing. Wish other people we worked with would take on that kind of attitude.
Good morning, buenos dias.
Buenos dias, ¿cómo está?
Good morning. Hola, buenos días. Espero que hayas tenido un fin de semana fantástico. ¿Ustedes hicieron algo divertido?
Hello. Hope you both had a great weekend. Did you do anything fun?
Thank you for asking. Was a good weekend. Got to spend some time with friends on the golf course. What about you?
Gracias por preguntarnos. Fue un buen fin de semana. ¿Puede pasar algún tiempo con amigos en el campo de golf? ¿Y qué pasa contigo?
Ay, qué bien. El tiempo fuera de trabajo con amigos es muy importante. Yo pasé la tarde con mi familia viendo fútbol. Como ustedes saben, hubo un gran partido este fin de semana. Invité a mi familia y amigos para verlos. Fue un gran momento con ellos.
That's great. It's important to spend time away from work with friends. I spent the afternoon with my family watching football. Well, soccer, as you say in the US. As you know, there was a big game this weekend. I invited friends and family over to watch. It was a great time.
Well, that does sound like a good time. Hopefully your team won. You root for Cruz Azul, right?
Oh, sí, eso suena como un buen momento. Ojalá que tu equipo ganado. Apoyas a Cruz Azul, ¿no?
Sí, apoyo a Cruz Azul.
I know that I would love to talk more about sports, but we do need to get to the topic at hand. We had put this meeting on the calendar to discuss the schedule. Are we still on track to get the report by EOD? Sorry, I mean end of day.
Yo sé que me gustaría hablar más sobre deportes, pero necesitamos llegar al tema que nos ocupa. Organizamos esta reunión para discutir el cronograma del proyecto. Espero que el proyecto siga yendo según lo planeado. Estamos todavía en camino de recibir el informe antes de EOD. Pues lo siento. Me refiero al fin del día.
Sí, deberíamos estar en camino de alcanzar ese objetivo. Tenemos varias personas que salieron de vacaciones hoy, pero podían enviarnos su parte de informe antes de salir, por lo que estamos trabajando para amarlo todo. Deberás verlo más tarde este día.
Yes, we should be on track to meet that goal. However, we do have several people out on holiday today, but they were able to get their portion of the report to us prior to them heading out. So, just working on getting it all put together. You should see it sometime later this afternoon.
That's great news. Thank you all for all the hard work you've put into this. Really looking forward to continuing our relationship moving forward.
Son excelentes noticias. Gracias por todo el trabajo que ha realizado en esto. Tengo muchas ganas de continuar nuestra relación en el futuro.
Sí, son excelentes noticias por seguro. Por favor, háganos saber cuando quieren visitar nuestra oficina y jugar golf en los campos más hermosos de México.
That is certainly great news. Please let us know when you want to come visit our office and play golf on the nicest courses in Mexico with us.
Adios.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Hasta luego.
Well, there were certainly some major differences between the first session and the second session. So let's break down some of these differences. Let's start with taking a look at what happened in the first video. So reflect on this question. What cultural mistakes did the US team make during the first call? What could they have done differently? Well, let's take a look. For example, they wore casual attire. So this was one of the mistakes because in Latin American culture, in business settings, it is expected that you dress in business attire. So wearing casual clothing was not something that was sensitive to the Latin American culture. Additionally, they lacked an awareness of Latin American business persons' polychronic, relaxed sense of time, meaning that they were reflecting on how late the party was to come to the meeting. And this is something that can be common in Latin American culture. And had the US persons been aware of this, they might have been a little more relaxed about the lateness of the start of the meeting. Another area that was a mistake and was a failure to engage in small talk in the beginning of the conversation. US wanted to jump right in and start the business meeting, probably because they were a little anxious about the meeting having started late. And then a lack of cultural sensitivity towards respecting periods of rest. There was a mention of the siesta and how a deadline at the end of the day was not going to be possible. There was a lack of kind of understanding of how important that was to a Latin American business person. And then another mistake was not making efforts to build the relationship. So it was really just focused on the business and what needed to be done, more transactional in nature. So if we would look at what are some cultural improvements that the US made on the second call, I think there's a lot that we can reflect on. Let's look together. For starters, they wore business attire, so they dressed more appropriately for the setting, and that reflected respect for a Latin American business person. Additionally, an understanding of a polychronic, relaxed sense of time, and understanding and appreciating that a little bit of tardiness is not meant to be disrespectful to the US individuals. Also, engaging in small talk in the beginning of the conversation, building a relationship and a rapport, not diving right into business is also very important. Making the effort to build the relationship throughout. There was a talk about what they had done for the weekend, their interest in football, and really building that relationship and that rapport between the Latin American individual. And another area of improvement is an exchange in greetings and farewells in the other culture's native language. This was actually done by both parties and represented a sense of respect for the other's culture. So there's certainly lots of improvements that can be made. Just a simple understanding of the cultural differences and an appreciation for those distinctions can help avoid misunderstandings and can go a long way to building a strong, healthy relationship between business partners.